Sunyata, often translated as emptiness, is a profound and central concept in Mahayana Buddhism, particularly within the teachings of the Prajnaparamita Sutras. Nature of emptiness, the absence of inherent existence, a fundamental aspect of sunyata, emptiness, challenges the conventional understanding of how things exist and points to the lack of intrinsic, independent nature in all phenomena, lack of intrinsic essence, independence and interdependence. Inherent existence implies that something exists independently, with its own self-contained essence. However, sunyata reveals that all phenomena lack this inherent, self-sustaining nature. Instead, everything exists in a state of interdependence, relying on various causes, conditions, and relationships for their existence. Transcending fixed definitions, emptiness challenges fixed definitions, or rigid conceptualizations of reality. It suggests that objects and phenomena aren't fixed entities, with unchanging characteristics, but are rather dynamic, contingent upon various factors. Dependent arising and emptiness, dependent origination. Emptiness and dependent origination are interlinked. Dependent origination teaches that everything arises dependently, lacking inherent, self-contained existence. This lack of inherent existence is what emptiness reveals about the nature of phenomena, the interconnected web of existence. Emptiness implies that everything exists within a vast interconnected web of causes, conditions, and interrelationships. This interconnectedness negates the idea of isolated, self-existing entities. Emptiness of the self, anatta, no self, the absence of inherent existence, extends to the understanding of the self. Emptiness reveals that the self is not a fixed, unchanging entity, but a composite of ever-changing elements. This concept of no self challenges the notion of a permanent, independent I or me. Implications for understanding reality, transcending dualistic views. Emptiness invites practitioners to go beyond dualistic views of existence and non-existence. It challenges fixed perceptions and reveals a reality beyond conceptual limitations. Freedom from attachment and grasping. Recognizing the absence of inherent existence undermines attachment and grasping. Understanding emptiness helps to loosen the grip of craving and clinging, which are sources of suffering. In essence, the absence of inherent existence, as revealed by emptiness, suggests that all phenomena lack a fixed, self-sustaining essence. This understanding challenges conventional perceptions, inviting practitioners to perceive reality as interdependent, dynamic, and devoid of inherent, independent existence. Interconnectedness and interdependence. Emptiness suggests that all phenomena arise and exist in dependence on other factors. Nothing exists in isolation, everything is interconnected and contingent upon causes and conditions. Interconnectedness and interdependence are key concepts in Buddhism that emphasize the relational nature of all phenomena, highlighting how everything is interconnected and relies on various causes and conditions for its existence. Interconnectedness refers to the intricate and inseparable connections between all things in the universe. It implies that everything is linked in a vast, intricate web of relationships, affecting and influencing each other. Unity of existence. Interconnectedness suggests that nothing exists in isolation. Every phenomena, whether visible or invisible, is part of a unified whole. This interconnectedness extends beyond individual beings to include the environment, ecosystems, and the cosmos. Interdependence signifies that all phenomena exist and arise independence on numerous causes, conditions, and factors. Nothing exists independently or autonomously. Everything is contingent upon other elements for its existence. Everything depends on other things for its existence, sustenance, and function. This mutual dependence underscores the idea that no entity exists in a self-contained, self-sufficient manner. These concepts are closely related to emptiness and dependent origination. Emptiness reveals the lack of inherent existence, while dependent origination explains how things arise interdependently. Interconnectedness and interdependence challenge the notion of isolated, independent existence. They suggest that any attempt to isolate or separate something from its interconnected web distorts its true nature. Understanding interconnectedness promotes a sense of responsibility and ethical conduct. Recognizing our interdependence encourages compassionate actions that consider the well-being of others and the environment. These concepts foster mindfulness and compassion. Being mindful of our interconnectedness cultivates a sense of unity and empathy, encouraging compassionate attitudes and actions towards others and the world. In essence, interconnectedness and interdependence are foundational concepts in Buddhism that highlight the intricate connections and mutual reliance among all phenomena. Understanding these principles leads to a deeper appreciation of our interconnected existence and influences ethical behavior and compassionate attitudes towards all beings. Not nihilism. Emptiness doesn't imply non-existence, but challenges our conventional understanding of reality. It points to the transient, ever-changing nature of phenomena. Emptiness doesn't imply that nothing exists at all. Instead, it challenges the inherent, independent existence of phenomena. It doesn't negate the conventional functioning or existence of things in the world. Rejecting extremes. Nihilism is an extreme view that denies the existence of anything, asserting that everything is meaningless and lacks inherent value. In contrast, emptiness does not deny existence, but challenges fixed, inherent existence. Transcending dualistic views. Beyond existence and non-existence. Emptiness encourages practitioners to transcend dualistic views of existence and non-existence. It challenges fixed perceptions and invites a deeper understanding of the nature of reality, dynamic and interdependent nature. Emptiness reveals the dynamic, interdependent nature of phenomena. It acknowledges their existence within a vast interconnected web, devoid of inherent, self-contained essence. Understanding emptiness leads to a compassionate and engaged approach to life. Rather than fostering indifference or detachment, it encourages compassionate actions, driven by the recognition of interconnectedness. Emptiness doesn't diminish the significance of ethical behavior. Instead, it fosters a sense of responsibility and ethical conduct, based on an understanding of interdependence and the interconnectedness of all beings. Middle way approach. Emptiness is aligned with the middle way, advocating a balanced approach between existence and non-existence. It encourages a nuanced understanding that goes beyond extremes. The concept of emptiness in Buddhism does not support nihilism or the idea of absolute non-existence. Instead, it challenges fixed, inherent existence while acknowledging the interconnected and interdependent nature of all phenomena within the framework of a meaningful and interconnected existence. Key aspects of emptiness. Dependent origination. Emptiness is closely tied to the concept of dependent origination. Pratitya Samutpada. Teaching that all things arise and cease due to causes and conditions. Emptiness is the nature of dependent arising. Dependent origination, Pratitya Samutpada, in Pali, is a foundational teaching in Buddhism that elucidates the interconnected nature of all phenomena, explaining the process of how suffering arises and ceases due to interdependent causes and conditions. Core principle. Interdependent arising. Dependent origination describes how all things come into existence, exist and cease, based on a network of interrelated causes and conditions. It's a chain of causation explaining the nature of existence and suffering. 12 links of dependent origination. Ignorance, avidya. The cycle begins with ignorance, the lack of understanding of the true nature of reality, and the Four Noble Truths. Volitional activities, sankhara. Ignorance leads to the formation of volitional activities, or mental formations driven by ignorance and leading to karma. Consciousness, vijnana. Volitional activities condition consciousness, the awareness of sensory experiences, and the beginning of individual existence. Name and form, namrupa. Consciousness gives rise to the psychophysical elements of name and form, constituting an individual's existence. 6 sense bases, salayatana. Name and form lead to the emergence of the 6 sense bases, comprising the senses sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and mind and their respective objects. Contact, phassa. The interaction between the senses, sense objects, and consciousness results in contact, creating the conditions for experience. Feeling, vedana. Contact gives rise to feelings pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral arising from sensory experiences. Craving, tanha. Feelings lead to craving or desire. Craving arises due to attachment or aversion to pleasant or unpleasant experiences. Attachment, apadana. Craving further develops into attachment, or clinging to the objects of desire or experiences. Becoming, bhava. Attachment leads to the process of becoming, or the arising of new existence influenced by craving and attachment. Birth, jati. Becoming culminates in rebirth, the manifestation of a new existence based on previous karmic influences. Old age, suffering, death, jara-marana. Birth inevitably leads to old age, suffering, and death, perpetuating the cycle of samsara and leading back to ignorance, thus continuing the cycle. Dependent origination illustrates the conditioned nature of suffering and existence, emphasizing the absence of an independent, permanent self. Understanding this chain of causation allows practitioners to break the cycle of suffering by addressing its root cause, ignorance and craving, and cultivating wisdom and mindfulness. Dependent origination elucidates the interconnectedness of all phenomena and explains the cycle of suffering and rebirth, highlighting the importance of understanding and breaking this cycle to attain liberation from suffering, nirvana. No inherent self. Sunyata extends to the understanding of the absence of an inherent, permanent self, anatta. It reveals that the self is not a fixed entity, but a collection of impermanent and interdependent elements. The concept of no inherent self, known as anatta pali or anatman Sanskrit in Buddhism, challenges the notion of a permanent, unchanging, and independent self-entity within individuals or phenomena. Absence of a fixed self. Anatta principle. Anatta teaches that there is no permanent, unchanging self or soul, atman, within individuals or any other phenomena. It denies the existence of a self that is independent and separate from the ever-changing aggregates that make up an individual. 5 aggregates. According to Buddhist teachings, human existence is composed of 5 aggregates, skandhas: form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. These aggregates constantly change and interact, but none of them individually or collectively constitutes an unchanging self. Anatta is closely related to the impermanent and interdependent nature of all phenomena. It emphasizes that everything is in a state of flux and lacks an intrinsic, unchanging essence, not self-inquiry. Practitioners are encouraged to investigate the nature of the self. Through contemplative practice, through observation, they realize that all phenomena are impermanent, constantly changing, and lacking inherent selfhood. Recognizing the absence of a fixed self helps in loosening attachments and identifications, leading to freedom from suffering caused by clinging to a fixed identity. Ultimate reality. Anatta reveals the ultimate reality that there is no unchanging, enduring self or essence. Instead, the nature of existence is characterized by impermanence, interdependence, and the absence of inherent selfhood. Reality beyond concepts refers to a state of understanding or perceiving the world that transcends ordinary conceptual thinking, acknowledging that conventional concepts and language are limited in fully capturing the true nature of reality, especially in Buddhism. Limitations of conceptual thinking. Concepts and dualities. Concepts are mental constructs used to categorize and understand the world. However, they inherently involve dualities such as good, bad, existence or non-existence that create limitations. In understanding the true nature of reality, concepts are relative and subjective, varying across cultures, individuals, and perspectives. They provide a simplified framework for understanding, but often fall short in representing the complexity of reality. Beyond concepts lies direct experience and insight, gained through contemplative practice and deep introspection. This experiential understanding allows individuals to perceive reality beyond the limitations of concepts. Insight, vipassana. Development of insight. Insight refers to a deep understanding gained through contemplative practices, particularly vipassana or insight meditation. It involves seeing the true nature of reality beyond conventional perceptions. Direct perception. Insight is not merely intellectual understanding, but direct experiential realization, often attained through sustained mindfulness and introspection. Transcending egocentric views. Insight leads to recognizing the illusory nature of the self. Anatta. Challenging the attachment to a fixed, independent identity. Transformation, parinama. Personal and spiritual growth. Insight triggers profound changes within an individual, leading to personal and spiritual growth. It often involves a shift in perspective, behavior, and priorities. Process of transformation. Challenging conditioning. Insight encourages questioning deeply ingrained beliefs and conditioning, challenging habitual patterns of thought and behavior. Letting go. Transformation involves letting go of attachments, clinging, and egocentric views, leading to a sense of freedom and inner peace. Practitioners continue to deepen their understanding and transform their perspectives throughout their spiritual journey. Insight and transformation in Buddhism involve a profound shift in understanding, perspective, and behavior. They pave the way for personal growth, compassion, and the pursuit of liberation from suffering, contributing to a more fulfilling and compassionate way of living. In essence, sunyata, or emptiness, is a profound teaching in Mahayana Buddhism that challenges conventional views of existence. It reveals the interconnected and interdependent nature of all things, inviting practitioners to transcend conceptual limitations and cultivate wisdom and compassion on the path to enlightenment.